20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughing. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night.
And we are... So the closing statements have been made, and with that, the debut debate, the high-octane debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris for the presidential race is officially concluded. Now, Donald Trump, in that closing statement, has posed some tough questions, and the most important question that he asks Kamala Harris is, while you're making all these promises that you will fulfill if you become the president, why haven't you already fulfilled your duties? Why haven't you already implemented the things that you're talking about today? You have every authority to do that. You're the vice president. Why don't you go back and implement these things? Donald Trump also there talking about how America is a failing nation now. He says world leaders are meeting him, and the sense that he gets out of it is that America has become a laughing stock. He says we will be dragged into a war because of the Biden administration policies. Kamala Harris hitting out at Donald Trump, questioning his vision. Also, tough questions posed there by Kamala Harris to Donald Trump on the issue of abortion rights, on the issue of climate change, on the issue of racism as well. Remember, the host reminded Donald Trump of his statements that he made against Kamala Harris, questioning her origins. We'll try and connect with our reporters again to get you more analysis and the significance of this debate. Catherine, in fact, continues to be with us on the broadcast. The closing statements also extremely significant. Donald Trump asking Kamala Harris, why haven't you already fulfilled the promises that you're talking about today? You had the authority, you're the vice president.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The whole argument of Trump's campaign is that, look, we've already seen what Kamala Harris would do in office. She's been the vice president of the United States, and she is aligned with President Biden. Those policies that Trump's followers strongly dislike, they cannot separate, Trump is arguing, Biden from Harris when we're talking about what she would be like as president. So that is an argument that Trump has hammered home at his rallies and hammered home again tonight.
Right. Well, both of them have made it clear what their policies are going to be like once they are chosen, elected by the people. So people of America now have a very important job to do, to choose their candidate. But the sense that this debate also gives you is the take of these two leaders on very, very critical issues. Donald Trump in the closing statement says we'll be soon dragged into a war, given the policies of this government.
Yeah, that's right. Trump's argument has been that, well, he was president, Putin never invaded Ukraine, there was never a war in Gaza, that by the force of his personality, he was able to keep all of these international conflicts at bay. Harris, of course, earlier in the debate came back with that argument and said, look, you should know how you are perceived around the world. You are not respected by world leaders, and you are bringing down the reputation of the United States in terms of foreign policy. So it was really interesting. We usually don't see this kind of deep foreign policy debate in a presidential campaign. So, you know, we usually get into domestic issues, and those are the issues that are usually most concerned to voters. There was a lot of talk tonight about who would be the stronger leader on the world stage.
And how much of this resonates with the people of America? We're talking about popular issues here, Catherine. Who is striking the right chord?
Well, that's a great question because, of course, we are standing in one of the key swing states in this entire election. We know that really when it comes down to it, about 7 U.S. states will decide who is the next president. Pennsylvania is one of them. And what most analysts say is that the economy is going to be the main issue that people vote on. Conventional wisdom here in the U.S. is that people vote based on their pocketbook, on their checkbook, that they are worried about their economic bottom line. And it's a question of whether Kamala Harris will be able to say, look, we inherited a very, very difficult pandemic economy that was mismanaged by former President Trump. We were able to bring it back, but not all the way back, elect me president, and I can go that further step to make it better.
Absolutely. Now, whether it's the issue of visa, immigration, whether it's women's safety, whether it's racism, whether it's climate change, these are some issues that Donald Trump, during his regime, has made some statements that has upset the people of America, that were continuously being raked by Kamala Harris during the entire debate. Like I said, what is the ground sense that you get? What is going to be the focus of people of America?
Well, the focus of people of America is going to be, look, we know what the presidency of Donald Trump was like. And it really depends on whether you thought those were 4 good years when he was president, or 4 of some of the worst years, as some people here in the U.S. would argue. Really what's important is that segment of voters, the independents, the undecided voters, who may choose to stay away from the polls altogether. You know, most people are already decided about Trump and Harris. It's those independents, those undecideds, that are going to have to make a last-minute decision about whether they stay away from the polls at all. They're going to make the deciding factor in this election.
Absolutely. And the undecided, in fact, are going to be perhaps the kingmakers. And like you said, people have seen both regimes now. They've seen Donald Trump's regime. They are witnessing what's happening in the Joe Biden administration as well. Is there a tilt right away that you can point out, or perhaps you'd also wait?
Well, I would say that from the very small bubble that I can see on Twitter standing here, is that a lot of people are saying that Kamala Harris won this debate. She had a very difficult task tonight. She had to pin Trump down on what she sees as his misstatements, but not look like she was being mean-spirited, antagonistic, unpresidential. By most accounts, the people watching online are saying that she did an excellent job of this. But we have to remember, Twitter is a very, very particular bubble, political people who follow this type of stuff. What really matters is what the people outside in the rest of America think. And again, a lot of people are very decided already about these 2 presidential candidates.
You're absolutely right. The vote is the ultimate deciding factor. We'll have to wait to see what people of America have to say through that vote and who they choose. Thank you very much, Catherine, for the moment, for getting us all the details and putting things into context.